Pozdrav svima, ja sam Petar, a ovo je nova epizoda podcasta Dan za podcast. Danas sam odlučio gostiti jednog posebnog gosta, gospodina Jan de Jonga. Hi Jan, thank you for accepting my invitation to coming to my podcast. I would like to see more about you, your business today, and please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, first of all. Jan de Jong, 37 years old, married, father of 4 children, originally born and raised in the Netherlands, and I moved to Croatia 15 years ago. And I've been an entrepreneur all this time. I've been involved in several different kind of businesses. Some of them are completely different from one another, so I think that we can pretty much fill up a whole episode talking about that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for your introduction, and we can start.
Yeah,
So
sure.
please tell me something more about Younited Agency. I would like to hear more about it, and how did you get into agency life?
Yeah. So, all the way in the beginning, this was like 2006, 2007. We first of all started a contact center, a call center. So we were helping our clients mostly with telemarketing, telesales, customer support. And then over the years, actually, some of those clients, they also had a need to start communicating with their clients through digital channels. And then we basically started cross-selling social media and Google AdWords campaigns to our contact center clients. And then actually, over time, it just started to make sense to turn this into a separated entity, which was going to be called at that moment M+ Agency, because it started with M+ Group, and then we started the marketing agency, so M+ Agency. And that company started growing and started developing its own clients by itself. And in 2016, I made an exit from the contact center. So I sold my contact center shares. And at that moment, I still remained co-owner in the marketing agency, and also because it was no longer part of M+ Group, at that moment we felt that we wanted to rebrand the company, and that's when we came up with Younited Agency. And I've been involved with that for several more years after my exit from M+ Group, and I left the agency in the year 2020, and my cum Boris Turkic continued with the company.
Oh, great. What is the reason why you decided to quit agency life?
First of all, I mean, what many people maybe that are not within the agency life, let's say, many people don't know or don't see. It's very challenging. It's a lot of hard work. I would say for relatively small margins, especially marketing budgets of clients. They are with like peaks and valleys. So sometimes you have very good fourth quarter, but then in your first quarter you pretty much lost all the profits from Q4 simply because marketing or the clients don't have the budgets in Q1, but they spend everything in Q4. So it's okay. I guess that there is no easy business, but marketing agency is definitely, in my opinion, a very demanding business, very competitive. It's also a business where it's rather difficult to differentiate yourself, to be unique at something, to develop a proposition that is really different from your competitors. So it's a competitive field, hard work, low margins, and after many years, I felt that I wanted to do something else. And I simply know that sometimes by closing one door, other doors will open. And that's why in 2020 I decided to leave the agency. And actually very soon after that, several other doors opened up. One of them, of course, all connected with digital nomads. So I started the initiative of introducing a digital nomad visa in Croatia. And after that I started an Udruga, the Digital Nomad Association. I started another venture in the agriculture business, actually, bringing the greenhouses, so the staklenici, the technology from the Netherlands to Croatia. That's my next thing that I want to do as well. So yeah, that's basically the story around Younited Agency for me.
Okay, cool, thank you. But what is about Webpower? Where did that idea came from? And who is it for? What is Webpower?
So it was also around 2016 when I left, when I sold my shares in the contact center.
Mm-hmm.
That at that moment, so I was left with the agency, which was being run by Boris,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt that I didn't want to interfere
Sorry,
too
Boris
much.
is from Split also, or
Boris
Zagreb?
is from Zagreb, yeah,
From
Samobor,
Zagreb.
but lives in
okay.
Zagreb, yeah. So I didn't want to interfere too much with the agency because it was already up and running, and I was never really involved operationally in that. So at that moment, leaving the contact center, I was pretty much having all the time in the world to develop something new again, and I wanted to start something from scratch. And that's when I realized that in the Netherlands you have companies, email service providers, very often this, let's say, locally developed software as a service, and those companies in the Netherlands, they're rather big, you know, they employ 20, 30, 40, 50 people, some of them even more, and you have several players out there in the Netherlands. And here in Croatia, everybody chooses to send newsletters using MailChimp. And there was basically no local provider in Croatia or in this region offering an alternative to MailChimp. And I already had a couple of clients, like 2 clients I'm talking about, that we were helping with sending newsletters through our software at that moment. And I thought this is a great new, let's say, thing that we can specialize in. There's no company in this region specialized in email marketing and marketing automation. So on one hand, we can help our clients, but we can also be a partner to marketing agencies like Kontra or any other marketing agency. We work with a lot of marketing agencies who very often they need to support their clients with email marketing. They do that either through MailChimp or through some other solution. But now in this case, they actually can rely on a local partner from Croatia that has a product and also has email marketing experts employed that can help their clients to perform much better in that field.
Oh, interesting. But I would like to know, so you are a developer of that product, or you are just a reseller?
So it's a Dutch product. They are already in the Netherlands for more than 20 years. And the entire development team is over there. And we are basically exclusive distributors for the entire region. Yeah.
Okay. But who is your ideal client or buyer persona? Okay, you mentioned agencies. Who else?
Well, agencies could be our resellers, basically.
Yeah,
so
okay.
they sell Webpower to their clients, and unlike MailChimp, but they get a revenue share for that. And our ideal client is somebody that, for example, right now is using MailChimp, and that would like to either improve their email marketing communication. They would like to be sure that they are GDPR compliant, so they want to work with a company, with a email service provider that is hosted within Europe.
There is a big problem, as I know, with MailChimp and GDPR compliance at this moment.
Well, it's very much a gray zone.
Yeah.
So a court in Bavaria, Germany, they have actually ruled that companies from within the European Union, if they use MailChimp, that this is not GDPR compliant because simply the data is being hosted in the United States. We as Webpower, all our data is hosted within the Netherlands. So it's within the European Union. On top of that, we are ISO certified 27001, so for data security. We as a software are certified, but also as a company are certified. And then, you know, there are other more, let's say, functionality aspects that are better with Webpower compared to MailChimp. For instance, deliverability. Deliverability of MailChimp's newsletters are very often not going further than 87%, where with Webpower we can deliver more than 99% correctly in somebody's inbox. And then we have this locally based team that can provide customer support and account management, can really help you to improve your communication. And if you have any questions, they can help you right away on the spot. No ticketing system, no different time zones. So yeah, that's our proposition. And on top of all that, we are doing that at competitive prices compared to MailChimp.
Cool. But how do you approach user acquisition? Do you have classic sales, or it is just a LinkedIn and your personal awareness?
Yeah, it's obviously very much developed through content marketing. Yeah. So
Inbound.
Yeah, okay, so on one hand you have content marketing on LinkedIn, so on my private LinkedIn account.
So you have around, how much, 20,000?
31.
Yeah.
31,000 followers on LinkedIn, yes. Yeah. And engagement on LinkedIn has been great. And it also definitely helps to get inbound leads for Webpower. Then also being part of podcasts or presentations or talks that I give at places. Every time I have an opportunity to speak about Webpower, just like here, and you have an audience, some of your audience might be interested in sending newsletters, and they hear about Webpower, they will go to the website, they might want to just schedule a video call with one of the team members, and then they might decide to actually switch from softwares like MailChimp to Webpower. Yeah.
Okay, great. Email marketing. Is email marketing still effective today?
Well, I would say with the rise of e-commerce, that email marketing is only becoming more and more important. I mean, it's one of the most cost-efficient digital channels to use in your communication mix. And from all the digital marketing channels out there, if done, of course, in a correct way, it offers one of the highest return of investments out of all digital marketing channels out there. So yeah, with more and more people wanting to also buy products and services online, I think email marketing has never been more relevant than it is today.
Do you have maybe some numbers for us, general statistics?
It's hard to say because it really depends on the industry. So, I mean, to give you an example, there was a time that we were doing the newsletters for Hajduk Split. I know that you are, I think, all big fans, yeah? So we were sending the newsletters for Hajduk Split to Torcida. And I think that there's no company on earth that has a higher opening rate than the Torcida.
The reason is Torcida,
I think that we had open rates of like close to 60% of the newsletter. So
amazing.
Whatever you sent, they would want to, they would want to open the newsletter and see what's in there. And then of course you have also clients in hospitality. We have clients, we have airliners, we have telecom companies, insurance companies. Very often, of course, insurance companies their content is more boring than hospitality, for example. So yeah, and that affects open rates, that affects click-through rates, that affects conversions. But at the end, very often email marketing is, again, if you do it in the right way, it's among the best performing digital marketing channels out there in your entire digital marketing communication mix.
Okay, cool, interesting. How do you see Webpower future? Do you have some plans maybe for Webpower?
Well, I'm very optimistic about Webpower, very positive about the future. Last year we grew with 76% compared to the year before. Yeah, we are increasing the team. We still have our Kupam en Hrvatsko campaign going on, so that means that for every 25 companies that switch from services like MailChimp to Webpower, that we employ one full-time employee in Croatia. So there's only winners of companies deciding not to spend their email marketing budgets with US-based companies, but with a Croatian company. We are all winning there. At this moment, we are having 120 clients.
Oh.
Some of them are huge clients, like Consum and Pevex and these kind of companies, and some other companies are companies that you and I have never heard of.
So more than 100 companies. Is it hard to support them?
Well, no. I mean, that's actually our core business. So it's not our core business to develop a product, like software development. Our core business is account management, customer support, which of course is also my original background. I mean, I used to be founder of M+ Group, which is today one of the largest companies in business process outsourcing in the region, employing more than 10,000 people today, specialized in customer service. So I come from the customer service industry. I've been doing that since I was 17. And that's a part that I very much enjoy, and I like to provide great services to clients. And
what is a great service for a client for you?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think it's important that you are available to clients. So good availability. of course, we are not available 24/7. It's also therefore very important that when you say that you are available to your clients, that you very well define from when to when are you available. And then I think a quick response, a fast follow-up to whatever the challenge is, I think that is important, and obviously focused on coming up with solutions, and where possible, that's always nice. If you can over-deliver, that's amazing. If you can go the extra mile, and somebody calls you up and they say like, hey, one of my links in my template is not working, and you fix that, but you also noticed another problem and you fix that too, and you share that with the client like, hey, by the way, I fixed another problem for you, don't mention it, it's on us. That's where you're gonna get happy clients. Yeah.
Great, interesting. Webpower Adria introduced 4-day work week without financial restrictions for employees. I would like to hear more about that, and is it just good employer branding PR or really works?
Yeah. So first of all, I was inspired by a test that they did on Iceland, where they introduced also a 4-day working week, but actually in the public sector. So not in the private sector like us, but in the public sector. And there it was showing amazing results, where actually people, by working less hours, are more productive, more effective, more rested, more relaxed. And that's something that I wanted for my company too. For me, it's very important, the well-being, obviously, of our teams, of our people. And don't get me wrong, the first 10 years that I was starting my business, I used to work more than 70 hours a week. I was there in the office from Monday till Saturday, from 8 in the morning till 10:30, 11 o'clock in the evening. And the only thing that I was doing was work. And now looking at it afterwards, looking backwards at that time, at that moment I believed that this was necessary for me to work very hard in order to progress my company faster. But also now that I'm getting a little older, more experienced in certain fields, I feel that we have gained a lot in efficiency by getting better technology. And I think that it's also time that some of the efficiency gains that we got because of using better technology, that some of those gains are being returned to our employees in the form of getting more free time. Obviously great for employer branding, because I think that, even before we introduced the 4-day work week, if I would make a post on LinkedIn saying that we have an open job position, for one post I would get 50 to 75 job applications for one position. I think that now that we introduced the 4-day work week, we offer something that even companies that could perhaps outspend us in terms of how much budget they have for salaries, they cannot compete with us when it comes to what we offer, and that is free time. And in my opinion, that free time that people can decide to either dedicate to family chores or relaxation or exercise or self-development, whatever they want to do in that time, I think that that's more valuable than any kind of money. I cannot imagine that somebody that is really used to be working 4 days a week, that person would, for a little bit more money, decide to go back to 5 days a week. That's something that I don't think will happen very easily.
4-day work week. What do you think? Is it possible to do that in an agency such as Kontra? Because you are now Webpower is product company,
yes.
And from my opinion, it is a very hard for service-based company. But
yeah.
That is in my opinion. I don't have proof.
I definitely agree with you that it's not as easy as it is for us. So where you are providing services, meaning at the end of the day, but you are selling your time. We are selling licenses, and literally by us working less hours, we did not lose any revenue. On the other hand, I think, if I'm not mistaken, but I think that Imago has also introduced a 4-day work week.
Yeah, I think I saw. that somewhere.
And they are also just like you, like Kontra. You are a digital marketing agency.
Let's wait a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end, you know, it has more benefits than you might see at the surface. Because if you would, for example, now, let's take the example of Ford. So Ford, back in the days, they were actually the first ones to introduce a 5-day work week. Because in that time, everybody was working 6 days a week. And when Ford introduced the 5-day work week, everybody was saying like, it's not possible because we will not be able to finish our job. It's not enough days to finish our job. And he did it anyway. And what he got in return, people were more effective, more efficient. And he was able to employ the very best people that he could get. I mean, because everybody that he wanted to work for him was interested in working those 5 days a week instead of 6. So working with the best people that you could get on the market, simply by offering better working conditions. At that moment, Ford outgrew and outperformed everybody on the market by actually working less. Yeah.
What do you think about labor market, Croatian labor market?
Well, for which industry?
Our digital industry, for example.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you know, I mean, it really depends on the industry again, but for digital marketing, I think that first of all, quality of people is really good, but at the same time, there's so many agencies out there, so many also, for example, development agencies, software development agencies, or other marketing agencies that are not necessarily focusing themselves on the Croatian market, but more internationally, where internationally they can charge a higher fee for their services. I think it's very difficult for a company like yours, especially if you're growing fast, to be able to attract enough people that are willing to work for salaries that you can budget within your organization, which of course is a result of how much your clients are actually prepared to pay for your services. And that's an ongoing battle, I would say, in this country, where very often clients of agencies, I think that very often they are underpaying their agencies. And therefore agencies cannot give the salaries to the staff that the staff actually needs.
Yeah, I can agree.
But that's just my personal feeling.
Yeah, but I think that is a problem in the USA and in UK, because you know I have been in New York for 1 month and I saw same thing, but you know the market is bigger, and you know you can find something for yourself or your business. Okay, cool, thank you.
But maybe therefore it would be great, and I think that you already have some marketing agencies that are doing that. They are, on one hand, they're providing services, but at the same time they also try to find products that they can sell. Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, for example, The Guardian has Media Toolkit.
Yeah.
So you have, on one hand, you have the services, but then you also have a product that they're trying to sell.
That is a great combination.
Infinum is also, first of all, okay, they are working for mostly foreign market, but they are, on one hand, they are like development and marketing agency, but now they also develop this CRM.
Productive, project management tool for software and development agencies. Yeah, okay.
So what is the product that Kontra is going to have?
Oh, yeah, we have to think. What do you think, Ivan?
Not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. But who knows? Yeah. Someday, maybe.
Something to think about. Or maybe you can become a Webpower reseller.
Maybe.
It's a good start.
We'll see.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, how much LinkedIn changed your life?
Everything.
Yeah. And okay, how?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it first of all, of course, it changed the way I do business development. It has opened up a lot of doors for me. Mm-hmm. It even has opened up the doors of the Prime Minister's office to me. It enabled me to.
So you are part of HDZ at this moment?
No party membership here.
Okay.
Like to keep it like that. But yeah, I mean, it has helped me to start this entire digital nomad visa permit process. It's a great way for me also whenever I get involved with new businesses, for example with crop, for building those greenhouses. I'm able to to get a lot of attention, also media attention for new ventures. Because of LinkedIn, I have some journalists that are looking at my content, and very often if they feel that it's good content, they want to turn it into articles for mainstream media. I get very often invited for all kinds of either panels or talks or podcasts as a result of my LinkedIn content. So yeah, all in all, LinkedIn is I dedicate a lot of time and effort on LinkedIn, because I know that the more that I give to LinkedIn, the more the network from LinkedIn is gonna give back to me.
How much per day?
Several hours, definitely.
3 to 4?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if not more.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
3 to 4. Yeah, cool. But what would you like to suggest to my audience regarding LinkedIn? You know, what are your tips, tricks? What did you learn about LinkedIn?
I mean, again, you know, first of all, you need to decide what would be your goal with LinkedIn. And that goal might be different for a business owner than it is for somebody that is an employee in somebody else's business. But I think that we need to be aware of the following, and that is that, you know, at the end, whatever kind of business you are in, whatever kind of things you want to do in life, it's all about relationships. And if I would want to hire somebody, I want to hire a person that I can develop a great relationship with. And very often, in order for me to form a certain opinion about that other person, the first thing that I would do is not look at his CV, but I would look at what is his digital footprint, basically. So what has this person been doing on social media? Now I have to say, I'm really not a fan of Facebook. I think that Facebook is the sewage of internet. If you want to get a lot of hate and whatnot, if you want to get really depressed, spend a lot of time on Facebook. Instagram I personally don't use, and I don't plan to use it, simply because for now I really just want to dedicate everything that I have on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, I have to say, my personal opinion is that it's a very professional social media. So I think that people are treating each other with more respect than what you, for example, see on Facebook. Of course, there is always exceptions there. You know, you have always people that simply don't know how to behave online, on all social media. But LinkedIn in general, I would say that people are very supportive. And again, you know, if you want to talk about tips and tricks for LinkedIn, ask yourself first, what is it that you want to accomplish? Do you simply want to share certain knowledge that you have with your network? That can be very specific. Do you want to, let's say, develop content in a way that it's interesting for you to become recruited by another company? Is it for you to show that you have a good image online on social media? For example, with my following of more than 30,000 people, I think that there's a lot of companies in this country that would love to hire me as their business development manager, because I have an audience. And of course, it's then my choice whether I would want to use my audience for the purpose of doing business development for my employer. But if my employer, okay, I'm not on the market, I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I'm not going to be hired by somebody else. But imagine if you are an employee and you have a big following on LinkedIn, and you're going to be on the market for sales or marketing or business development positions. I think you have a significant advantage if you have a good following on LinkedIn, and if you can show that you are very good at content marketing and that people are actually engaging with your content. I think that if you're not going to be the favorite candidate, you're definitely going to be able to ask for a higher salary because of that.
How do you deal with haters on your LinkedIn posts?
Yeah, well, I mean, as you are creating content and you have more and more people engaging with that, I think it's only natural that there's going to be some amount of hate. And I mean, that first of all, you just need to accept that. There's a lot of comments being made, even also direct messages over LinkedIn, that I have a hard time following up on everything. It's really a lot. And Therefore, you of course naturally engage more with the positive, with the nice comments. You like to give back to people that are engaging with your content. When people are negative on LinkedIn about my content, first of all, I wonder why would they even follow my content then if they're really so negative about it. And it tells more about them than it tells about me, actually. And again, you know, if what I very often do when somebody is being very negative or maybe even like almost aggressive in their feedback, I very often just check out their profile and I can see what are the activities that they've done before on LinkedIn. And then very often you just have to conclude that this is simply the way this person behaves, not only on my content, but on a lot of other people's content. So, and then I just ignore it because there's no need to feed that hate. The moment that you can never win those kind of arguments. The moment that you're going to start defending yourself or you're going to come up with counter arguments or whatsoever, you're just putting more oil on fire and there's no end to it. So I decided that if it's really too negative, I'm just not going to engage with that. No.
Okay.
But I don't delete it.
Okay.
I don't delete those comments because once again, I think it's important that if somebody wants to be negative on LinkedIn, that it stays there for everybody to see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Do you have maybe help within your organization, Webpower? You know, someone who supports you on your LinkedIn profile, for example. Do you have someone?
No.
No.
No, I do this all by myself.
Really? 4 hours per day?
Yeah, this is all me. So if anybody gets a response from me, a reply from me, or any of the content, photos, copy, everything, I do everything by myself.
Do you have a content plan maybe, or you are doing this day per day?
Day by day. I don't have a content calendar or whatsoever. You know, I mean, also because it's very difficult to plan actually, because life is very dynamic. I mean, this morning I was in Petrinja with the State Secretary of Ministry of Tourism. They built those containers over there for people that don't have a home. And now we're actually looking into that kind of a concept, whether we can produce something like that as a digital nomad village, for digital nomads to go into like a community like that. Because it actually, when you say container, you might have a wrong impression. When you go out there and see it, it's actually a beautiful concept. And I think that we can reproduce that and welcome digital nomads in those kind of communities. So we went there to check it out. This afternoon I had a meeting with also with the director of HTZ, Hrvatski turistički zajednica, yeah, National Tourist Board. And again, you know, there you're talking about completely different kind of plans about how you're going to promote Croatia internationally, to welcome more digital nomads. I mean, these kind of things, I don't plan that like weeks in advance. You know, we schedule those meetings, and now we are creating content as we are having those meetings. As I visit Petrinja, we are creating content, and
so you are documenting. You're documenting day per day.
Almost,
all your
yeah.
activities.
Yeah,
interesting.
almost, yeah. And of course, sometimes you have more inspiration, sometimes you have less inspiration, and you know, I'm just trying to not force things. I think that you can't force that kind of inspiration or creativity. You just need things to happen in your life, and then from what is happening in your life, that's actually the source of how you create content.
Okay, cool. At this moment, you live in Split and traveling to Zagreb. Yeah. How much time per week?
Well, not as many, not as much as before. Before I would be in Zagreb every week, at least for 2 or 3 days. Nowadays, you know, with everything, I mean, like I would say 90% of my meetings are virtual meetings, are all through video calls. So it definitely cut down on traveling a lot. Usually now I would say I'm going to Zagreb maybe once or twice a month.
You're a member of 4 a.m. club?
No.
No?
Well, not no.
I read
4
that.
4 a.m.
Yeah.
Thank God not. I mean, I wake up early, but that's just because of the kids. That was not my choice.
Okay, because I read somewhere that fact. So
no,
I was amazed. Yeah.
No. But I mean, I do wake up early. Usually it's around 6, I would say. But that's because
fine.
the kids
That's fine.
are.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think 6 is early enough. This morning I was up at 5 because I was in the car at 6 because I had to be in Petrinja at 10.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Interesting. Do you have a time for education, books, podcasts?
Fun fact: I don't read any books, and I pretty much don't listen to any podcasts. But I do consume a lot of content on YouTube. And that's all kinds of content. I mean, pretty much whatever you want to find, you can find it on YouTube these days. So I would say probably I'm more of a visual person. Maybe also lack a bit of concentration to be reading books. You know, I just don't have the time, the patience to be reading a lot. And but yeah, I mean, educational. Like I said, I consume a lot of content myself.
Is it hard to connect private and business life? You know, what do you think about work-life balance?
Well, I mean, for me, it's like one big mix and blend throughout the whole day. So nowadays that I'm working, I would say mostly from home. There are, of course, all the time moments when you have either kids around or you have to bring kids to kindergarten, to school, you have lunch, and then you have somebody that starts with homework, needs support in that, and then you have video calls, and then you have to put together something from IKEA for the kids or whatever, you know, it's like all day long, it's like one big mix, but I nowadays, I can definitely say that I don't work as many hours as I used to. I just try that whatever I do in terms of work, that I'm delivering the let's say the maximum impact that I can. So it's not about, again, you know what they say, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So that's in family life. I don't want to spend a lot of time with the family, I want to spend great time with the family. And I don't want to be working a lot, but when I work, I want to do great work, and I want to have impact with what I do, and that's what I'm trying to focus on. You know, before I would perhaps be nervous if I would not be dedicated with work. You know, I would be very hard on myself. I mean, I needed to work, I like to work, but I also really wanted to work a lot. And nowadays I feel that I can work less as long as I deliver impact with what I do.
Split versus Zagreb, what do you think? Where is better to live, in Split or Zagreb? Because I'm from Split. At this moment I live in Zagreb. Yeah. Yeah, and I have my opinion, but I would like to hear yours.
I think, I mean, first of all, both cities have something really great to offer. I think, I mean, most of my friends are actually from Zagreb, also because, of course, I meet them through business. So I always love to be in Zagreb and meet up with as many people as possible and catch up. And Zagreb, to me, has a very good vibe. For family life, I would definitely choose Split. So for me, even though I live just outside of Split, part of Solin, but it's very quiet. It's I think it's a great place to raise a family. Schools and kindergarten, they are like walking distance. There's almost no traffic, so kids can play outside without having to be afraid of being run over by a car, as a matter of saying. But you know, altogether, I have to say that I especially love, for myself, the mix, because I live in Split. Okay, I work a lot from Split, but then my business actually is all in Zagreb. And then I also like to just travel. I mean, now also for the Digital Nomad Association, I'm all around. You know, I'm in 2 weeks from now I'm going to be in Rovinj. A couple of weeks ago I was in Dubrovnik, so I get to see a lot of this country and even the region, and that's the part that I very much enjoy. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Crop company.
Yeah.
I would like to hear more about that. You know, is it hard to manage, for example, Webpower and crop and digital nomads projects? And
yeah, well, if it would all be managed by me, then it would have been very difficult. I would say maybe impossible. But the good thing is that You know, in Webpower also I have a great team, and I'm operationally not involved with the day-to-day business there. I'm very much involved strategically and with business development and these kind of things, but not in managing day-to-day tasks. So I have a great team that takes care of that part. And with the Digital Nomad Association, we again also have a director there who is running the day-to-day business in the association. I'm one of the co-founders and the president of the Digital Nomad Association, but I'm not running it day-to-day. And then with Crop, because that was actually your question, what is going on with Crop? So for quite some time, I was very much frustrated with the fact that a country that used to be able to produce enough food for an entire region, that today we are a nation that imports more food than that we export. And coming from a country, the Netherlands, which is specialized in agriculture, which is the second largest exporter of food in the world after the United States, even though the Netherlands in square kilometers is smaller than Croatia. I wanted to do something with that, and I wanted to introduce the technology from the Netherlands, because that's why they're so advanced, because of the technology. I wanted to introduce that technology in Croatia. And now that I say it in that way, it's not correct for me to say that I want to introduce it because it already exists. You know, there are players out there that already do it, like Rajska Rajčice from Sveta Nedelja. They have a beautiful greenhouse, 5 hectares. You have other players like Ruris and some others, but altogether, it's just not enough. There is in Croatia about 55 hectares of high-tech greenhouses compared to like almost 10,000 hectares in the Netherlands. You know, it's a big difference, and I think that I mean, the mission with Crop is to make sure that first of all we become less dependent on importing food, but ultimately I want to help turn Croatia into a food exporting nation again. That's a very big ambition, because for that we would need to invest hundreds of millions of euros.
What do you think about poticaj?
What is that?
Poticaj, you know, help from a country, you know,
the
for businesses.
subsiditions.
Yeah.
Again, for agriculture, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's of course very questionable on how that is being spent right now, because I've heard people say that if you look at how much we spend on subsidization in the agriculture, and if you would calculate how much produce you would have to get in return for what you're actually giving in subsidization, then we should be one of the largest food producing countries in the world, but we're not. So I think that probably a lot of the money is spent in a way where it doesn't give you the return that you can expect for what you're giving. But at the same time, I think that it should be part of the strategy of this country that you want to start performing better in agriculture. And you know, we can talk for a very long time very romantically about domestic potatoes and domestic tomatoes and whatnot, but that's not how you're gonna be able to feed a growing world population in a nutritious, reliable and in a sustainable way. And it's also not what we are competing against. You know, I want to build a greenhouse for growing cherry tomatoes. And then sometimes people would tell me like, yeah, but you know, your tomatoes can never be better than my grandfather's domestic tomatoes. And my response is, that's true, but I'm not competing with your grandfather's domestic tomatoes. What I'm competing against is that if you go to Consum in January, that you cannot find a Croatian product. And that you will only find products, tomatoes, from the Netherlands, Spain and Italy. And why not from Croatia? That's what we are competing against. And you know, in Croatia you have players out there with 30 hectares of greenhouses. And even though that is big, it's relatively small compared to what we are competing against in the Netherlands, where you have family farms, third generation family farms, with 100, 150, 200 hectares of high-tech greenhouses. And at the same time, I think that we in Croatia can have a huge competitive advantage. For the following reason. First of all, we have plenty of land, and land is cheap. I mean, in the Netherlands, 1 hectare of agriculture, or sorry, 1 square meter of agricultural land will set you back a few €100. Agricultural land. I mean, in Croatia, we pay that for construction land. In Croatia, you can get land from cities or from the country, even under concession for close to nothing. Then if you look at the Dutch greenhouses, right now they are having huge cost for electricity and gas because those prices went up. In Croatia we have something so-called geothermal heat. Almost entire Slavonia has hot water in the ground, which we can use to warm up our greenhouses. We don't need to burn any gas to warm up our greenhouses. We can use what Earth will give us. Instead of using electricity from the power grid, we can produce our own, but using solar. We have more sun hours or light hours in Croatia than many other countries in Europe. So we can produce a lot of energy by using solar power. And then on top of that, labor is also cheaper compared to the Netherlands. And we don't have to transport it from the Netherlands to Croatia because it's already here. And on top of that, if you look at the surrounding area of Croatia, geographically we are very nicely positioned because we have large capital cities like Belgrade, Budapest, Zagreb, Ljubljana, Vienna. These are all in like 4-hour drives from Slavonia or from northern part of Croatia. So geographically I think that we are also very well positioned compared to Spain or the Netherlands. And you know, in the entire mix of all of that, I think that Croatia has a lot of competitive advantage that could really turn this country into a country that can help to feed Europe. And that's what I want to do with Crop.
Great project. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jan. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for everything you share with me and my public. Do you have maybe message for my community or my audience?
Well, I'm not exactly sure who your audience is, but
digital agencies, marketers, brand managers, marketing managers, IT sector.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most of the people that are, let's say, part of your audience, I would say they are part of a group of people in Croatia that actually have it quite well. You know, I mean, we are all working in a growing industry, mostly, in an industry where there's fair amount of budgets available for salaries. We live a, let's say, from, if you compare to other groups of people in Croatia, we live a fairly good life. I'm not saying that it cannot be better. I'm actually one of the believers that Croatia has all the ingredients to offer its citizens among the highest standards of living in Europe. And perhaps just one message could be that, you know, just don't expect anybody else to take care of that for you. If you want to live a great life, then the only person that can make that happen is you. And it's about your willingness, of course, and at the same time also ability, but mostly just your motivation in how badly do you want it? You know, do you really want to live in this, one of the most beautiful countries in the world, definitely in Europe? Do you want to live here and live a good life? Because, you know, very often people think that the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, and then people move to Ireland or they move to Germany, and then what you see is that people are actually, for example, prepared to work 2 jobs in Germany to live a somewhat okay life, but they were not prepared to work that hard in Croatia to live a great life. And yeah, I mean, at the end, it's up to you. I came to Croatia as a student, being 22. Now I'm 37, so I'm living here for 15 years. And through entrepreneurship, of course, building companies to a certain level, selling them, starting other businesses, I've been able to live a very good life in this country, probably a much better life here than I could be living anywhere else in Europe.
Dear Jan, thank you for your time, your energy, and good luck with all your projects. We will follow you on LinkedIn, and thank you once again for coming on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Pozdrav svima, ja sam Petar, a vi ste gledali novu epizodu podcasta Dan za podcast.
Ukoliko vam se svidio ovaj sadržaj, pretplatite se na moj YouTube kanal kako bi dobivali informacije o svim budućim epizodama koje ću objavljivati.